So my name is Jason Lief. I work for the National Immigration Forum. I am a Bibles, Badges, and Business mobilizer, and my area is Iowa, Missouri, Wisconsin, and now South Dakota. And I am here with Garrett Pearson from City of Refuge. So Garrett, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. Maybe you could start by just kind of telling us who you are and what is the work that you're engaged in.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. As you said, my name is Garrett Pearson, and I'm the executive director here at City of Refuge. We're a 501c3 nonprofit here in Columbia, Missouri, serving refugees and immigrants relocated here in mid-Missouri. Our organization offers basic needs assistance, professional development programs, PTSD and trauma counseling, and many other things as well. But yeah, the primary clients we serve are refugees coming from Asia, Africa, and the Middle East.
Yeah, and so do you have a rough estimate of how many people you serve? I don't know if that question makes sense. Go ahead.
Yeah. It surprised me when I learned how many refugees and immigrants call Missouri home. Here in mid-Missouri, there's about 8,000 refugees, immigrants. Every year we serve about 500 individual refugees coming through our doors, mostly through the basic need programs that we offer.
And how has some of the recent kind of decisions on limits as far as refugees and people seeking asylum, how has that impacted the work at City of Refuge?
Yeah, so we've seen numbers pause and slow because of, obviously administration decisions, but also because of the pandemic going on. And so brand new refugees landing straight in Columbia has been paused. However, our work has been just as busy as ever, as obviously other refugee nonprofits around the country have closed. And so we've seen an uptick in secondary migrants, refugees relocating from one state to another, many moving to Columbia, Missouri, or somewhere nearby. So it's been just as busy, if not a little different. And then obviously we're able to continue to focus on refugees who've been here 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years, and continue to help them in the transition process.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it, but how has the coronavirus impacted your work?
Yeah. I mean, as with everyone, and even specifically kind of the nonprofit sector, it has been a sort of a fog around everything we do. Obviously, we have been hard at work making sure that refugees that have had jobs can keep their jobs, that they've been able to adhere to social distancing guidelines, making sure that they're safe. Just the other day, I guess a week or two ago, we had a refugee who was a former client of ours, not currently a client, but had tested positive for the coronavirus. And so we were working with her employer, and obviously a lot of her coworkers are current clients of ours, and to make sure that it was not spread. And thankfully it wasn't to any of our other clients, but just helping them navigate this. And then obviously many of the refugees we serve are families. And so they're dealing with obviously in March, April, and May with the school system moving remote. So helping them navigate that when they have obstacles such as the language barrier or technology barrier. And then now we're kind of gearing up for the fall and what Columbia, Boone County, Missouri as a whole is deciding for their schools, helping them navigate that on top of what we normally help them with, which, problems and obstacles don't go away when there's a virus. People still have issues getting jobs or growing in their economic mobility or suffering the things that they were already suffering with. So we're continuing to operate our programs as normal.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the people that you serve? Why are they coming to the United States? And what are some of the big obstacles they have to overcome as they try to adjust to living in the United States?
Absolutely. The three main groups that we're working with come from Africa, from Eritrea or the Democratic Republic of Congo. We also have a large population of Burmese refugees coming from Asia. and then a scattering of a lot of other groups and types of people. And most of them, many of them are placed here by the government. They are relocated straight into Colombia. But then also there's a large group of them that, as I mentioned earlier, are secondary migrants. So they're moving to Colombia. And that really surprised me at first. Why are you moving to Columbia, Missouri, out of all places? And honestly, it's because this is such an open and welcoming community. There's a lot of opportunity here. There are a lot of business opportunities, a lot of opportunities to translate their skills, overcome some obstacles. And then also as the population sort of grows, more and more people from those communities will move here. And then what was the second part of your question? Sorry.
What are some of the obstacles that they have,
Yeah.
or what are some of the issues that they deal with as they come?
Generally, the three biggest obstacles that they deal with are the language barrier, just accessing resources and services here in the community. Something as simple as food stamps or getting their kids registered for school is a major obstacle if you don't have a way to understand how to do that. So the language barrier is the obvious one. Another one would be transportation, which obviously with getting to work, getting access to jobs, or having access to better jobs because of transportation. And then right now, obviously with the virus and the pandemic and everything going on, it's making sure they have access to those specific health resources, whether that's reusable masks or soaps and shampoos, things like that, so they can sanitize not only their workspace, but their homes and make sure that their families are safe and clean. Some of those that are just kind of natural for an American to kind of pick up, or we're just privileged to be able to have access to, are much harder to obtain, as one of our refugees clients are experiencing.
So you and I had a conversation one time, and you talked about some of the kind of unique things that City of Refuge is doing, especially around job creation and kind of creating businesses. Could you talk a little bit about some of that work, and maybe even a little bit about how COVID has kind of impacted some of those things?
Yeah, one of the great things about City Refuge that I love is that we can be so need focused. We're technically not a federal nonprofit. We're a community supported nonprofit is what I kind of call it. And so because of that, we're able to be organic and flexible with needs and opportunities as they arise. And one of those has been sort of our job creation, job development. So we have Safi Sana, which is under the City Refuge umbrella, which is a cleaning company started to hire refugees and immigrants who need immediate work, and then have the ability to get job skills to hopefully find a better job someday. So we have that, which any refugee and immigrant can apply to. And even now we have many Americans that work for the cleaning company. But then also we have a professional development program to help refugees, former refugees, start businesses, because many of them are coming with skills and gifts and traits that just need a little help in overcoming a few initial obstacles. So there's Shui Market, which is an Asian food market that is now completely owned by a former refugee couple family that provides Asian food here in the community. And there's also a few restaurants that have opened that we've helped open for the Burmese or the African communities, because many of them have the skills to cook or to market their food. They just need a little help with bookkeeping or signing up for certain waivers, things like that. So something we pride ourselves in, because these people are a good addition to our community. They create jobs in our community. And that's one of the things I think our community is realizing and wanting to invest more into.
Yeah. And do you find that as you talked about how the government will put some people there and how there's others who gravitate maybe towards Colombia. Do you find that the people that you work with and encounter, that they just want to stay there, that they begin to put down roots in Colombia?
Many people, yeah. It's a wonderful place for our refugee community, because most of these people are just looking for a place to belong. That word belong is something we, and me specifically, take a lot of pride in. We want to develop a sense of belonging in every family that comes through our doors. And that's what most of these people are just looking for, a place they can call home, a place that they can invest in, that they can join in arms with, so that they can then help other people. Many of our former clients, people who went through our services 5-10 years ago, have turned around and now volunteer at City of Refuge, either interpretation services, or even a few weeks ago, helping us sort through some donations that were happening because they wanted to help others in the community. Many people want to belong, and others as well, may want to grow and go to college or go get another degree or go get some other job training. And so we make sure that we can equip them to send them out to other communities as well.
Yeah. So what is, if you could say, talk to people who maybe haven't had a lot of experience with refugees or the immigrant community, and as they kind of look at the politics of it, and maybe get caught up in some of those things, what would be something that you would want to communicate to them to help them better understand the people that you work with?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the two biggest fears that we hear from people in the community about refugees or immigrants is one, that they may be sort of like a threat to their family, a safety concern. And to that, we say, look, these people are actually fleeing for their own safety. Most, if not all, of our refugees are fleeing some sort of violence, whether personally on a family member or on a community they lived in, and are just looking for a safe harbor, a place that they can rest, recover, and regain control of their lives. The other one, which I kind of hit on before, is that they're an economic strain on our community. And to that, we kind of say, look, our refugees are creating jobs. They are coming into the workforce, and they are amazing workers. Everywhere that we send refugees to work, we've gotten back great reviews on how hardworking, how mobile, and how invested they are in this job. And when we get volunteers, no matter the age, whether you're a college student, whether you're retired, the most important step to take is the next one. And we try to make that as easy as possible. Just be willing to learn, be willing to be open, and just really be willing to build a friendship. We don't have to, volunteers don't have to engage at the big picture, at the cloud level idea of refugees. There's a family here who just needs a buddy, who just needs a friend, and you can engage with them, help their kids with their homework, or just build a friendship over a cup of coffee. So that's generally what we say and what I would say to those wanting to learn more.
Yeah. What do you think are going to be some of the biggest needs for organizations like City of Refuge, whether it's now with COVID, or maybe even some of the things you see kind of, in the future, as far as communities and politics and so on?
Yeah, I would say advocates are our biggest need right now. And that term is broad, but those willing to stand up and advocate for refugees in general, but for organizations like us and others around the country that are helping refugees, because most people in the nonprofit world are working many jobs, wearing many hats, and to have the support of the community when different laws come up or different opportunities or resources come available, just to make sure that our refugee and immigrant population is not overlooked. We can do this together. And it's hard to tell with how long this COVID-19 coronavirus is going to last. But now more than ever, we're just looking for people willing to stand up for those who are not yet able to stand up for themselves, and either volunteer socially distant over social media, or just willing to stand up, or when they can, support programs that are essential to the livelihoods of refugees, whether that's our immediate emergency services or making sure we can get resources into those hands of people most needed.
Yeah, that's great. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you or in touch with City of Refuge, how might they do that?
Yeah, the easiest way, you can visit cityofrefugecolumbia.org. That's our website. It has all our contact information. And I'm happy to reach out and talk more with anybody wanting to learn more about what we do and some of the deeper reasons why we do what we do. But we're all available, www.cityofrefugecolumbia.org, or you can reach out to me at Garrett at cityofrefugecolumbia.org as well.
Awesome. Well, Garrett, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, and blessings on your work and blessings on the work of City of Refuge.
Thank you so much, Jason.